Hi, this is Nadia with Everything Stitching. In this video, I am going to show you guys how to make this adorable bag. So in my previous video, I showed you guys how to make these granny squares. And in this video, I'm going to show you how to put all the granny squares together so you can actually make this adorable handbag. And you can use it as a purse or just a fun functional handbag. And we are going to put it together, and then in our third video we're going to actually put a lining in it to make it even more functional. So please like and subscribe if you want to see more content like this. Now let's get stitching. So to make this cute adorable crochet bag, you're going to need 13 of your granny squares. I showed you guys how to make that on the Monday video. So now that you have all 13, this is the pattern you want to lay it out in. Definitely let it be funky and don't worry about a rhyme or reason. Unless you want there to be, then obviously do that. But in this one, I'm just letting it be crazy. So this is the pattern. You're going to do 1 and then 3 and then 4 and then 3 and then 2. Okay, so the next step is going to be slip stitching your squares together. I like to work by putting these 2 together first, then these 3, then these 4, then those 3, and then obviously he doesn't get attached to anything yet. Then after you've done it horizontally, then you're going to attach them vertically. So then I would be attaching them this way, this way, this way, and this way. And then from there, we'll work from there. I'll go ahead and show you guys how to slip stitch your granny squares together. Okay, so here's how you're going to attach your granny squares to each other. First of all, if you hear sewing in the background, my daughter is sitting next to me sewing up a quilt, so don't mind her. So you're going to want to use the same yarn that you use to make your granny squares to attach it. I like attaching them using a tapestry needle. My favorite is the clover ones because they're slightly bent. Makes it super easy. Anyways, so you're gonna get your granny square. Make sure you find the right side from the wrong side, if you can tell. Sometimes you can't tell, and that's fine. So here are my wrong sides of this one. So I'm gonna put right sides together. Basically, you line it up like so. You're gonna go ahead and thread your tapestry needle. Pull it through a bit. And then you're gonna start in the corner, and you're actually going to slip stitch these using only the back stitch of your V's. So if you look right here, you have a V. You're only going to be going in through the back on both granny squares. So line it up. I like to start from right to left. Grab the back V of both my granny squares. Sorry, I'm having difficulties. Pull that through a bit and then go ahead and cut, I don't know, leave a tail for weaving in later. Excuse me, sorry about that. So what I like to do is in my first stitch, go back through it so that way it kind of tightens on for you. And what you're going to do is just slip stitch in the back stitch of every single stitch on both of your granny squares. This makes it pretty secure and also not seamless, but not as noticeable as other stitches. Plus, I just find it way easier to use the tapestry needle instead of crocheting them together. I think that has a way, I don't know, it just seems bulkier and not as quick. I feel like it takes me way longer to do it that way, but you're more than welcome to do the exact same thing, but you're doing it with a crochet needle instead of the tapestry needle. So we're already almost at the end here. Kind of just want to keep moving it around and making sure your stitches are lining up. And once again, that you're just doing the back. With the V's together. And then once you get to the end, you're going to go into that stitch twice so that way you can tie off. Remember to leave yourself a tail to go ahead and weave in later on. But that's basically it. So you're just going to need to do that to all 13. Yeah, it's a lot. All 13 of your squares in the pattern that I showed you in the beginning of the video. And just go ahead and work through all those. You do your horizontal and then your vertical. And then we'll meet back later. Okay, so now the next step, once you've sewn all of your granny squares together, you're gonna now fold it good sides together in order to slip stitch your granny squares together into an actual handbag. So what you're gonna do is fold it good sides together. Here's your middle piece that you have, and you're gonna just fold down that center line. So see, and then these ones are gonna go inward and inward. So now what you're gonna do is you're gonna slip stitch from here to here, also on this sides right here, sides here, and then here. And then go in and weave all of these in. And then after that, we will work on the next step. See you then. Okay, so here we are. I've finished slip stitching all of my pieces together into my bag formation, and I've went ahead and weaved in all of the leftover yarn. So now turn it so it's right side out now, and this is what your bag is going to look like. It's super cute. It's a pretty good size actually when you're working with squares that are about 4 inches. It's enough to throw a few goods in and be on your way. Okay, so now the next step would be to finish off the top of this before we work on the handles. So to finish up the top, it's pretty simple. We're basically just going to do a single crochet in every single stitch along this whole top of your bag. Don't mind Cashew, my kitty in the background. The only change is going to be when you get to a peak, you're going to do 2 single crochets to allow for your peak instead of it like scrunching together. And then when you get down into the valley of your bag, in order to not have a hole, you're going to want to decrease 1 to hold it together without a big gaping hole. And I'll show you as we go along what to do. So we're going to go ahead and just pick a yarn you want to use. Gosh, I'm just going to go with the one I've been using to slip stitch everything together. And because my bag is so funky, there's no right or wrong yarn color to use. Okay, so we're gonna go ahead and just work completely around the bag. And once I get to a peak or a valley, I will be sure to let you know what to do. Okay, so now we are getting to a peak here. I've single crocheted up to this point. So if you just do 1 single crochet in this peak, it's going to bunch. So what you want to do is 1 single crochet and then go ahead and do another single crochet into this same hole here at the peak. Because that hole is a bigger stitch, you're gonna wanna fill it up with 2. And then just go on your merry way back to doing 1 single crochet all the way until you get back down to a valley. Okay, so we're getting close to our valley now. And we're gonna do our last single crochet on this granny square. Then, if we just did 1 single crochet to connect it to this side, you're gonna have a gaping hole. So what you're gonna wanna do is basically decrease to kind of pull this all in. So you kind of just find a spot. Now, instead of just yarning over and then pulling through to complete your single crochet, you're actually going to go over to the next one. So now you're gonna have 3 on your hook, and then you're finally gonna yarn over and pull through. So now you can see, instead of having a hole, we've actually closed it here. Now just proceed through your entire top of your bag, doing 1 single crochet in each stitch, and then whenever you get to a peak, you're going to do 2 single crochets, and whenever you get to a valley of your bag, you're going to go ahead and decrease. And once you've made it all the way around the top of your bag, I'll meet you back here and we will be working on our next step, which is the handles. So we're getting pretty close to completing our crochet bag. And then in my next video, I'm actually going to show you how to sew in a lining to make it so you can actually use this bag for everyday use without worrying about stuff falling through the holes, since it is crocheted, right? But anyways, go ahead, work your way through. I'll meet you back here once it's complete. Okay, so once you've single crocheted around your entire bag, you're gonna get to the point where you began your single crochet, and you're actually gonna start single crocheting over that as well until you get to your first peak. Then once you get to your first peak is when you're actually gonna start making the first stitch of your handle. So we're at our first peak right now. And what we're gonna do is we are gonna chain 70 from this peak, chain it up until you get to this peak. And that's gonna be the first chain of your handle. So start at this peak to this peak. And I like to do about 70. You can choose to do it shorter or longer depending on how long you want your handle to be, and of course how tight or loose you make your chains. So first figure out what you want to do, and then make sure you remember that because you're going to do the exact same number on the opposite side of the bag for that handle. So I'm at the top of my peak now, and I'm going to go ahead and just chain 70, and then I'll show you how to connect to the other peak. Okay, so I've chained 70, which as you can see is a pretty good handle, especially with yarn, because as you use it or wear it, it is gonna stretch. Okay, so now that I'm at 70, I'm going to slip stitch it into the top of my peak to connect it. Now that it's connected, I'm going to single crochet all the way around the exact same way that I did it on the first round. So whenever I get to a valley, I'm going to go ahead and decrease, and whenever I get to the peak, instead of doing 2 single crochets, I'm actually going to start my next chain. And then once we completely go around single crocheting everything, you'll end up with the same amount of stitches in the top of your peak as the first row, because you have one single crochet, then you started or ended your chain, which is going to go ahead and add as the other one when you slip it in to attach it. So it's going to be one single crochet in each one till you get to a valley, then you're going to decrease. When you get to the peak, you're going to go ahead and start your handle. So go all the way around, chain 70 again, go all the way around until we get back to here. And then when we get to here, we're actually going to single crochet around our handle to start thickening our handle. So I'll meet you back once we get to the next step. Okay, so I've done 3 rows of single crochet around the bag, only on the outside. We will still be going on the inner part of the bag on both sides, but we've just been working completely around, right? So I did 3 rows of single crochet, and now I'm back at my starting point. There are a few different ways you can end your straps. So, I mean, you can do a scallop crochet, you can just finish it with the single stitch or single crochet like we've been doing. Personally, I really like doing the half double crochet at the end. It gives it more of a slightly chunkier look, with it still being a little bit more modern versus a scallopy, which is a little less modern in my opinion. But yeah, I mean, crocheting in general isn't modern, but if you know what I mean. So what I'm gonna do now is I'm gonna go around the whole bag again, the same way we've been working, but instead of doing a single crochet, I'm gonna be doing a half double crochet in every stitch until I get to this point again. So I'm just gonna go over once with the half double crochet, and then after that, we will pick up and work on the inner part of our handles on both sides of our handles. And that is going to be basically the same as what we did before. We're gonna do 3 rows of single crochet and then ending it with 1 row of half double crochet. And that's gonna be on the inside of our straps on both of them. And just remember, whenever you get to the valleys, you're gonna go ahead and decrease, because you'll have 2 valleys. Well, 1 valley on this side, 1 valley on this side. Okay, so I'm gonna go ahead and do half double crochet around the entire bag, meet you back here to start the innards of our handles. See you soon. Okay, so great news, everyone. I have officially made it all the way around the outside. Look how pretty that is. See, I really like the single crochet and then ending it on the half double crochet. I just think it looks really pretty like that. Anyways, just like, look at this. Yes, I have not weaved in these ends yet. Okay, so now to finish off the crocheting portion of this handbag, all we have left is to do the same exact thing that we did earlier. Okay, that's my child playing Fortnite in the background. Okay, so we're gonna do the 3 rows of the single crochet all the way around the inside of both of the handles, and then we're going to finish it off with a half double crochet on the inside of the handles, just like we did on the outside. And then once that is complete, then we tie it off and weave in all of our ends, and then the crocheting portion of our handbag will be complete. And then the next video will be showing you how to sew in a liner so it's an actual functional crocheted handbag. Okay, meet you back here in a couple of minutes once this is all sewn up. Okay, so now we've completed our handbag. Everything has been crocheted, all our edges, and all of our pieces have been sewn into each part of it. There's a little bit of cone right here. I have to snip that off. But anyways, it's all done now. And we're ready to use this awesome, adorable, cute bag. I'd say it's like, what is that, like 12 inches to the top of here, and then probably about 11 inches wide. So it's a pretty good size. You can actually fit a normal wallet in there and your new smartphone. But it's actually a really good size. And the handle length is actually really good too. It is about 8 inches, depending on how much your yarn stretches when you're using it. But it's really functional. Please stay tuned for the next video, which is where I will be showing you guys how to add a liner to your crocheted handbag to make it even more functional. Please like and subscribe, and I'll see you next time.